Hey everybody, I'm Howard and this is Otter's Corner. Today we're going to answer the question, can I still have a mortgage in retirement? And this comes from one of my viewers. There's a very specific example he wanted me to approach, but I want to talk about the overall theory of mortgages, debt, in retirement, before retirement, and my personal take on it. Um, I understand when you're young debt is very important when you don't have a lot of money. So you're going to buy a car, you're going to either lease it, don't lease it, or you're going to finance it. Prefer financing over leasing. Very seldom will people at a young age, younger than 30, pay cash for a car. I understand that. You're going to take a car loan, it's going to happen. Also, you're going to take credit cards. You're going to own credit cards, and you're going to be tempted to run up a balance on them. Now, outside of a car and a mortgage, I'm 100% against debt of any kind. If you use credit cards, pay them off monthly or don't use them. If you're using credit cards and you're running up a balance, you're clearly living beyond your means, you're clearly not saving money, you're clearly not financially successful. So if you have credit cards, use them as a tool, build up rewards, don't take airline miles, they tend not to be as valuable as cash. Take cash rebates. I know I'll get a lot of flack from this, there'll be thousands of people getting airline miles, but when you actually sit down and figure it out, you're better off with the cash and buying airline tickets than you are with airline miles. You also have a lot more flexibility that way. Anyway, I'm against debt. That's my personal take. Anytime in life, okay, you need a car and you want to buy a house. Very few people can pay cash for a house, especially when you're young. If you're in your 30s or 40s, especially if you're in your 20s and just starting a family, if you're going to afford to get a house and get a mortgage, you do it. And there's the take on mortgages in retirement is typically don't have a mortgage. You can't have a mortgage. Pay off your mortgage before you retire. Have zero debt before you retire. I agree with most of that. Have zero debt before you retire if possible. But if you have a house and you've been living in that house and you've been paying your mortgage and you have a mortgage and the mortgage as part of your expenses is covered by your portfolio and or Social Security, fine. If you have $80,000 in expenses and you have $40,000 in Social Security and you have $2 or $3 million in your deferred retirement savings accounts, do it. That's fine. If it's part of what you can afford to spend, have a mortgage. Who cares? That's no big deal. It's not going to stop you from enjoying your life. Now, there's the question of, okay, I'm coming up to retirement. Should I pay off my mortgage? Personally, I would say right when you reach retirement, you may want to pay off your mortgage, but my caveat is only if you're already collecting Social Security, because you're going to use up a lot of your savings to pay off a mortgage, and particularly in this case that we're going to talk about. So a low rate mortgage is an extremely valuable tool, especially before retiring. If you in the last decade, prior to the last couple of years, got a 3.5, 4% mortgage, and you've got a portfolio and it's heavily invested in stocks, and you're looking to get 7-8% return on your entire portfolio, or even more than that, don't pay off your mortgage. Let the mortgage go at your 3 or 4% and let that money earn 7, 8, 9%, whatever it's going to do. Again, I understand it's controversial. That's my opinion. That's what I would do. Not telling you what you should do, but listen to what I'm going to say and follow me here. Now, once you get into retirement, for me, it's no longer about that, okay, I'm only paying 4%, I'm earning 8%. It becomes something about cash flow and income. And that's all I care about in retirement. And that's what I'm going to show you today. So the guy, and I wish I remembered his name, and I got to write these down when I get suggestions. I got to give you credit for these. So his personal situation is I don't know if it's real or not. No, hopefully it is. But he said if he's got a 400,000 mortgage at 3.25%, 30 years, I don't know why he would have just taken that mortgage out now and then ask about this, but let's play along. That mortgage is $1,736 a month or $20,833 a year. So for me, the question is, if I pay off that mortgage, will my cash flow get better or worse? So we're going to take, I don't know his situation here, so I'm going to make one up. Typical, he's got $1 million portfolio. He has expenses of $40,000 a year he has to cover from this portfolio. So either he's got Social Security paying the rest, or at some other form of income, or that's his only expenses, all right? And again, I'm making this up just for an example's sake. So he needs $40,000 a year from that portfolio, and he's covering this expense, this $20,833. So about half of it, his needs, is towards the mortgage. So now he's going to pay off that, if he pays off that mortgage. He's got that $1 million portfolio. He takes out $400,000, leaves him with $600,000. So now, if he's doing a 4% withdrawal, going by the 4% rule, and we can do it for 5% or any other number, but I'm going to just make it simple here. 4% of $600,000 is $24,000. All right. His expenses drop from $40,000 minus his $28,833. So now his expenses are $19,833. And he's drawing $24,000. So he improved his situation on cash flow or income by $4,000 a year. So either he can just not withdraw this extra $4,167 and leave it to build up in his portfolio, or he can spend more. Whichever way he wants to go. So from my viewpoint, if you're in this situation, go ahead and pay off the mortgage. It is worth it. Forget you're only paying 3.25% and maybe your portfolio at this point in life, because you have a lot more bonds, is earning 6% or whatever it is. Forget about that, all right? You've got a short runway now. Once you retire, we're looking at 30 years. Not many people are going to live to 90, but some are. You've got to protect against that. Cash flow is important here. So again, if you're not yet, say you retired at 65, you're not going to take Social Security at 67, wait till 67, because you're relying 100% on that portfolio. And, in this situation, he may need $60,000 and be taking 6%. And if you're taking 6%, paying off your mortgage is a loser. Your expenses are going to go higher. You're going to need more than 6% if you pay off that mortgage. So the other thing to consider is taxes. If you've got $400,000 in a taxable account, in other words, not a tax-deferred retirement account, you can do this. However, if that $400,000 is coming from a 401k or an IRA, it's tax-deferred, and you're going to pay taxes on it when you pull it out. So instead of pulling out $400,000, now you're in a higher tax bracket, and with state taxes, which you may or may not have, you could be in a 40% combined tax rate, in which case, to pay off this $400,000, you're going to have to draw $667,000 out of your savings. You're going to pay a couple $100,000 more than plus in taxes, and you're going to lose badly on this. Maybe if you pull $50,000 or $100,000 out of a taxable account, you can make this work. If you're drawing 5% instead of 4%, it's almost a break even. You're going to save $20,000. You're going to cut your expenses by $28,833, and you're going to spend about $20. So you're going to come out about $833 ahead. It's kind of a toss-up at that. The other thing you have to consider is a mortgage is a hedge against inflation. So when you set this 30-year mortgage in place, 30 years, it's not going to change. So when you talk about inflation and, let's say 3.5% inflation yearly, and your expenses are $40,000, your personal inflation on that $40,000 is closer to 1.68%, because only part of your expenses are subject to inflation because your mortgage isn't. And that's got some value. So if you're really close with that 5%, you may want to think about, with 5% withdrawal rate, you may want to think about keeping the mortgage. With the 4% withdrawal rate or anything lower, pay off this mortgage. So your situation's different. This 400,000 is different. You probably have a different amount of time left on it. That really doesn't matter. The interest rate matters, and that 400,000 matters, and your portfolio matters. So do this math. If your cash flow comes out better based upon your withdrawal rate, pay off the mortgage. That's my opinion. Let me know yours. I know I'm going to get arguments on this, and it's great. I want to hear those. I want to hear counter arguments. I want you to subscribe. I want you to like. I want you to share. Comment. Tell me what you think about this. Tell me other things you want me to talk about, and we'll see you next time. Bye.